Good evening everybody, I'm Fictional Crystals, and what do the pros know? During Stephen's trial, many questions were brought up. However, focus was mainly drawn on Pink Diamond and who really shattered her. But there is another gem worth mentioning, someone who was also extremely close to Pink Diamond. Their stories tie together. The other gem brought up in the trial was Pink Diamond's pearl.
And where was her pearl?
This was the first time Pink Diamond's pearl has been mentioned. It was a big deal. The reactions to Pink Pearl being mentioned were noteworthy. The ones particularly worth talking about though is Blue Pearl and Yellow Pearl's reactions. As soon as Pink Diamond's pearl was mentioned, the two pearls at the trial froze. They stopped what they were doing and immediately after Yellow Pearl looked at Blue. So why was this? What was the big deal about Pink Pearl being brought up? Well, for a very long time the other diamonds only talked about Pink Diamond. They close to never brought up the witnesses of Pink Diamond shattering. It wasn't until Zircon did that everyone really started thinking. A pearl is very close to their owner. They almost never leave their owner's side unless their owner wants them to. Logically, Pink Pearl would have had to have been there for Pink shattering. The diamond's pearls are close to each other. Yellow Pearl and Blue Pearl see each other quite a lot. They would have been close to Pink Pearl as well, seeing as how much time the diamonds spent together and how close Blue Diamond was to Pink Diamond.
Were you close?
Very.
Because Blue and Pink Diamond spent a lot of time together, so would have their pearls, which is why Yellow Pearl looked over at Blue Pearl when Pink Pearl was mentioned. She was wondering if Blue Pearl knew anything about Pink Pearl's fate. Considering how close Blue and Pink's diamonds were, Blue Pearl was definitely around during and before the war. She certainly would have known Pink Diamond and Pink Pearl. Could Blue Pearl and also Yellow Pearl know something about what happened to Pink Pearl? They could, certainly, particularly Blue Pearl, but I actually don't think that's why they reacted the way they did. The looks on their faces were that of shock. It wasn't the look of keeping a secret between them. They were shocked that Pink Pearl was even mentioned. Gems had only ever talked about what happened to Pink Diamond, not Pink Pearl. No one ever had time to think about Pink Pearl. Pearls are very common gems, they're seen as replaceable. They're made to be simple servants. So pretty much no one on HomeWorld would care if a pearl went away. But in the eyes of another pearl, another diamond's pearl in particular, the disappearance of a diamond's pearl to them is important. Yet they had never questioned what happened to her until then. This is them realizing they don't know what happened to Pink Pearl on the day of Pink Diamond shattering. And after that too. They don't know what happened to Pink Pearl, but now they are wondering. Zircon brought up a point that they hadn't considered before. Why didn't Pink Pearl cry out when Pink Diamond was getting shattered? And where did she go after that? What became of Pink Pearl after Pink Diamond shattering is something that Yellow Pearl, Blue Pearl, and all of us are wondering. Because Pink Pearl was brought up on the show and the other two pearls had such a shocked reaction, I know for sure we haven't heard the last of Pink Pearl on Steven Universe. But anyway, thanks for watching, cause the video's over, isn't it?
We shall take a short recess.